Shalom, Yashrala. This your brother Dawadah, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, Rakakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I wanted to jump into this here article, and actually touch on a couple different articles as well too. But this one here starts off, says U.S. would attack foes and friends to protect its hegemony and doesn't shy away from using terrorists as proxies. And this is going directly into the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, talking about the son of perdition being revealed, all right? And also what Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 6, how the things of Esau, Edom searched out, how the things of Esau sought up, roughly paraphrasing. But nevertheless, in Amos 3 and 7, the Lord will do nothing but he revealed his secrets into his servants, the prophets, all right? But nevertheless, saying all that to say this, Esau is being revealed right now as being the damn devil, all right? We've been going on the highways and the byways, pushing this here truth out on the highways and the byways, which is changing the vibration of the whole earth, man. If you don't believe in the things that, how do I say, I don't want to say the Israelite movement, but nevertheless, let's just use that for carnal terms, If you don't believe in the so-called Israelite movement, and that is true or whatever, whatnot, hey, man, just like YAHAWASHI said, if you don't believe me for what I tell you, but believe me for my work's sake, all the things, mainly here from GMS, there's some other camps, that's out there that's preaching this truth and sincerity. And, you have some people that aren't in camps doing the same thing, like, a couple camps, DTA and Men of Valor and so on and so forth, but nevertheless, mainly starting with the head apostles of great millstone on down, we've been telling you this here truth, man. And it's evident, like we said, like the scriptures say, if you don't believe me for my, what I tell you, believe me for my work's sake, We've been telling you about these here prophecies coming to pass, and look, they all coming to pass, man. We've been exposing this damn devil for who he is. So-called white man as being Esau, Edom, the devil that the Bible speaks about, and that this is the, these are the last days that we're living in, and now the devil is being revealed, all right? Now, we've been on the highways and the byways prophesying about this, some people couldn't see these things happening, it's just like, oh, really, ultimately, you have to have a special eye to be able to see this, like the scriptures say, blessed are your eyes will see the things that you see, and hear the things that you hear from many kings and, kings and priests, I believe, have desired to see the things that you see and have not, kings and prophets have desired to see the things that you see and have not. But nevertheless, dealing with this, we have the spirit of discernment. The Most High has opened our eyes up to see these here prophecies and understand these things, all right? But now, just like in the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 says, Habakkuk 2 and 3, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not tarry, all right? So this is what's going on right now. We've been saying these things over and over and over and over and over again, Some people think that we bugged out or we lying or we don't know what the hell we talking about or we just crazy, But now you see these things all these prophecies are now speaking. All the things we've been telling you about is now on the mainstream media news, starting with the RFID chip being the mark of the beast. That's one of the heaviest things that's out there right now, That's so much, so much of a controversy. We've been saying this for years, but nevertheless, now it's becoming such a controversy to where you have people in these churches that's debating about this. You have all these different Israelite camps now. They're actually discussing this, the ones that's not going to tell you the truth about it, but now they actually having to deal with it. That's one of the big topics they having to so-called defend, which they can't defend the law because that's not it. That's why they always stumbled in that. But nevertheless, another one is the chariots, so-called UFOs. A lot of people look at us crazy. Oh, y'all believe in UFOs or whatever, whatnot. Y'all crazy. Y'all think God coming back in some UFOs. Hey, but look, now what's on the news right now? You used to think those are things of fairy tales or whatever, whatnot. But now, even the American government, which is like the only government that don't disclose this with its civilians, is letting you know that, yeah, there's so-called UFOs out there. There's chariots out there, And what? The American government is planning and positioning itself to go to battle with those chariots, which is all written about in the scriptures. So it's not far-fetched about the things that we telling you. Like the scriptures say, yo, though it tarry, wait for it. You may not see it now, but wait for it. It's going to surely come. It's not going to tarry. These prophecies are going to speak, measure the time diligently. And when you see half these things come to pass, then you're going to know, plain and clearly that these are the things that the Most High spoke about from the beginnings, and all these things, everything that the Most High created had the plain beginning and the end is manifest, roughly paraphrasing, So these things are clear as day of what's really going on out here. All right. It's how do I say, it's an undisputed fact that the prophets are back. despite who you think the prophets are, the real prophets, the real men of the Lord are actually back right now. They're out on the highways and the byways prophesying, and they have been, and they've been telling you the truth since beginning, from the jump, all right, all the way up into the same day. All right, now it would really behoove you to humble down and to how the scriptures say, reason with me. All right, reason to see if these things are true or not. You know, search the scriptures and see if these things are true. You know, look at the news. I mean, you don't really have to search the scriptures because we bring the scriptures out for you. All right, and we even showing you the news articles that they pair up to. You know, but nevertheless, you know, hey, a lot of people they're not gonna believe. You know, but what did the scriptures say? So what if some don't believe? Is that gonna make the will of the Most High without no effect? You know, God forbid. You know, it's still gonna happen whether you believe it or not. You know, you could be dumb as all outdoors and don't believe that the weatherman gonna tell you that, hey man, it's gonna be a hurricane tomorrow, it's gonna be massive floodings, or there's gonna be a wildfire. You know what I'm saying? We see this every day. Look at the California fires out there. How many of them people getting burnt up, trapped in their house? Why do you think that shit's happening? Because they didn't take heed to the warning that was given to them. They didn't believe that there was actually a fire coming. They thought that they was in safety and all kind of things like that. But when them flames surrounded them, that's when they was gonna learn. You know, like the scripture says, then they gonna learn at the death by pain. All right, but nevertheless, you don't want to wake up to the fact that we was right the whole time at the very last minute and have to learn that way, all right? Because, wow, we still out here telling you back and forth, day in and day out about these here prophecies, you know? So, it will behoove you to take heed to these here prophecies and reason, all right? But this one here says, U.S. would attack foes and friends to protect its hegemony, and it doesn't shy away from using terrorists as proxies, Assad. All right, Assad said to RT. And again, we've been breaking this down about the so-called white man being the devil, how he use these proxy armies, because a lot of people would think, oh, well, like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, man, people would think that, oh, these are just some rampant-ass terrorists. This is like some organic-ass shit. You know, these are some real terrorists. You know, you really got some Arabs that's out there just strapping bombs to themselves and beheading motherfuckers out there left and right when we tell you, like, nah, bro, this is not real at all. All this shit is fake. It's just like you watching movies. In fact, if you've ever watched, it's one of these Iron Man movies. If you ever watched this certain Iron Man movie, there's this whole scenario is played out in that movie, man. Where you can go on YouTube and search up the Mandarin, all right, the Mandarin Iron Man, and it'll break down the whole. In the scene, they'll basically tell you about where Iron Man, you know, they got the terrorists like ISIS and them, right, and they doing the same shit that ISIS and Al Qaeda doing, right. But then they get this super police, which is Iron Man. Iron Man go over there and find the #1 terrorist, like i.e. El-Baghdadi, right? This dude, the so-called ISIS leader, or just like Osama bin Laden, the so-called Al-Qaeda leader, all right? But nevertheless, Iron Man roll up on this dude, and, you know, they found the leader of the terrorist group or whatever, whatnot. He roll up into the dude's house, and all of a sudden the dude get all scared, like, whoa, whoa, mate. You know, first of all, he's supposed to be some Arab dude, but then when you hear him talking, he's like, whoa, 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 mate. He's like some British dude, you know? He's like, no, no, no. This isn't real. I'm an actor. So on. And, you know, I'm just going along with the agenda. They give me a script and so on and so forth. You know, the guns are fake. This is fake. Everything is fake, bro. It's a movie production, you know? This dude just basically wanted to get some drugs. The CIA was paying his ass so he can go buy his drugs. And there's nothing to take a homeless motherfucker and pay his ass off. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, well, I mean, I just out here with my son just trying to get a burger for the end of the day. Well, the CIA come to you like, look, we'll give you a small-ass apartment, a car to ride in. We'll give you enough money to go buy all the drugs you want in the world, all the alcohol you want in the world. Just do our little job, bro. Like, well, shit, I ain't got shit else better to do, and now I'm making some money. Come on, and it ain't illegal to be doing what I'm doing. So when you're watching that movie about the Mandarin, you see about all these different things, all right? So, like I was saying, some people would think about ISIS and, you know, really is these Edomites are scared of ISIS and shit, because for Jake, man, we already knew from Jump Street, bro. We ain't got no business with the goddamn terrorists. These motherfuckers, just like the Vietnamese, man. They was like, yo, hey, soul brother, go home. You know, this ain't your war, whatever, whatnot. These other nations, in reality, all these other people, they understand that we ain't got shit to do with Esau. They understand that we in captivity up under Esau, so they don't really treat us the same way. So therefore, we not really scared that ISIS finna come kidnap us and behead us and shit. Or let's just say ISIS was real. They would do some shit like that to us. Let's just say they kidnap us. America's not finna negotiate for our ass. You know what I'm saying? So if they was real, that's a bad bargaining chip. Oh yeah, we gonna kidnap some niggas and shit and try to negotiate with America before we behead these niggas. America would be like, shit, we gonna act like we didn't even get that message. Go ahead and behead them niggas. We don't give a fuck. You know, we'll pay you to behead them. You see, that don't work for us. But nevertheless, you know, the people that have mattered to, the people that vote for these politicians that are for war and for these endless wars over there like that is these Edomites, all right? So they get them all riled up and all afraid to where they just be like, oh, we got to bomb them all. Fuck them. If they got towels on their head, we got to bomb them all. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, look, how about this, man? You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they feel. How about we feel the same way? You know what I'm saying? Well, we know that we was historically enslaved by people that look like you goddamn white people, right? So how about we just blame all of y'all? You know, some of y'all like to say, oh, it wasn't us. Well, fuck it. We gonna blame all of y'all, you know? But nevertheless, this is a little side note. But nevertheless, these how do you call them, terrorist groups, all right, is nothing more than a puppet used by America to do its dirty work, all right, so that they can save face and look like the damn angel. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they always playing the damn victim role and the fucking angel role and the superhero role at the same time, you know? They always like, no, we you know, we came to help out. We was here, oh, such a tragedy, what's going on? And we're just so appalled, or something happens, and they're like, oh, this is so sad, you know, like the Mexico shit, you know what I'm saying? With the Mormons that got shot up. Oh, man, that's such a tragedy to happen. If you guys need, we'll come over there and help you guys out with the cartels. But this is how they go in and they send in their proxies. Put motherfucking cartels as a proxy for the American government, man. Go back to Barack Obama and the Fast and the Furious situation. That's what they was doing, arming the cartels over there, all right? That's why they got all American guns, all right? Go over to the Benghazi situation with Hillary Clinton. They was over there arming ISIS over in Libya, all right? This is where they all come from. You see what I'm saying? Same shit in Syria, man. All right, and it'll kind of go into this in this here article. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? These are proxy armies, proxy militaries that America uses to go out here and wage war against these other nations to make it seem like, you know, because America want to go, let's just say, for example, America want to go up into Syria to stabilize Syria, fuck Syria all up. So what do? Because they can't, you know, just go in there and invade Syria with their military, because the whole world will condemn them and everybody will see that they the damn devil. All right, America goes in with their damn terrorists, all right? They go in and they wind up sprinkling they terrorist groups that they go over there and pay these people for, or these coup attempts. You know, they pay these people to go over here and overthrow the governments and shit like that, which I'll touch on a couple stories that's in the news right now, where they doing the same thing in a whole bunch of different places, man. So it's no mystery, it's no conspiracy, it's no, y'all motherfuckers is crazy, bro. Just read what these Edomites is saying about these other Edomites, man. Again, we don't even have to tell you about this shit no more. It's in the mainstream media news, man. You don't even gotta believe us. They telling you what the fuck it is now. All right. So real quick, I'm going to go back and touch on a couple articles real quick just to show you. All right. This one here says, coup against Bolivian people force Morales out of office, Corbyn says. All right. Now, this is basically being done by the American government. All right. Let me show you some other articles on that. But here again, you have Hong Kong rioters, which is being set up by the American government. All right. This one here kind of shows about it too. Bots. Thousands of newly created generic Twitter accounts defend a right-wing coup in Bolivia. This is all with the American CIA, man. They got a branch in the goddamn internet division and social media division. This is how they cause these uprisings and these different political events, man. They go online and stage a fake-ass uprising and the outroar to people. Look, man, we're tired of this shit. We're going to go over here and we're going to boycott this. And, you know, hey, man, you just know how they say groupthink works, man. You know what I'm saying? Just let somebody at your job go and spread a rumor like, yo, man, everybody finna start protesting and boycotting a job tomorrow for a goddamn $10 raise. You know what I'm saying? Think about how many people you could trick into that shit. You know what I'm saying? Even though there ain't no real boycott, they're like, shit, $10 raise? Hell yeah, I'll go boycott the shit. If we ain't gonna get in trouble, you know, Jake, if we ain't gonna get in trouble, fuck it, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? This is how America winds up doing these things, all right? Spreading these lies, man. Their wine, just like in Revelation 17 says, made the whole earth drunk with the wine of fornication, man. This Babylon juice, man. Their philosophies, man. Going in there with these bullshit philosophies going in there. Oh, you know, they'll go in there with a fucked up ass thought or whatever, whatnot. Oh, you know, your government is killing you, man. You know, your government is stealing from you. You know, your government is doing so on and so forth. You know, now the people start looking sideways or whatever, whatnot. You know, they're like, you know what? The bank rates are about to go up. You know, so many percents and such is finna happen. You know, creating a calm before the storm. I'll give you a different example, right? If I was the weatherman and I was in cahoots with the gas company, right? And I wanted to sit there and raise up the stock of my gas, what would I do as the damn weatherman? Like, yo, bro, here in Florida, you're like, yo, bro, there's a massive hurricane coming. You know what I'm saying? It's going to knock out power to damn near everybody here in Florida. Everything in Florida is going underwater. Everybody needs to evacuate. You need to gas up today and you need to go and, you know, evacuate, you know? So this is what I would do as the weatherman, to sit here and predictively program the damn people to be in an uproar, to go run to the gas station, fill up on gas, buy all the gas that I want to sell them they ass anyway with propaganda, then they go run off with it, man. All right? But yet and still, there's no storm coming anyway. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, no storm comes, and you're like, well, we better be safe than sorry. At the end all be all, you know, people are like, whew, at least we safe. They still don't even see the plan and the plot. Let alone, you never know that the dude in the back is just laughing all the way to the bank with all these goddamn sales, man. All right? Let me touch on another one of these articles. Uh, there's a couple other ones in here too. Hold on. There's one actually in Europe. You know, there's going on in Europe as well too. Hong Kong again. Here's one in Delhi. All right, over there in you have another. But all these things, like I said, these are all being staged by the American government, man. All right, whether you believe it or not, it's all being staged. Here it is again. They telling you in the article, don't believe the hype. Hong Kong says it's business as usual for banks and stock exchange despite protests. All right, because why? The American government will want you to believe, oh, China's economy is collapsing, we're still doing strong. They're trying to demonize everybody else to make themselves look good. All right, going up. Here's one again. Ex-Ecuador leader Correa says Bolivia Morales was forced out in coup as the OAS is an instrument of U.S. domination. I'm going to go up a little further and touch on that again. Media whitewashing coup in Bolivia. CIA surely celebrating Morales' capture, departure. All right. So, give me a second. There was another one. Maybe that was it right there. Let me go back down to this last one. There was a paragraph in here I wanted to read. So, give me one second. Oh, here it is right here. It says, notably, there's been a steady flow of money from the shady right-wing NGO, which stands for a non-governmental organization. You have to understand the weapons of Esau's warfare. This motherfucker got what they call NGOs. This is some bullshit, right? Now, you got to understand, first of all, I'm going into these proxies and shit, because this is the deceitfulness of Esau, man. He's not going to show you his hand straight out and show you exactly what he's doing straight up. You know, he's always hiding behind some deceitfulness, all right? Now, we all know what a government is, right? You have the governments or whatever, whatnot. And with the government, if they're not using proxies, you can pretty much place blame on people. So, let's just say if the American military decided to just go in and ransack Syria and bombard them for no reason, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, shit, look at this atrocity that the American government did. You know what I'm saying? We see the American tanks, the American planes, the American soldiers with the American flags on them. It's the American people. You see what I'm saying? So, how do I say? Their cover will be blown. But if they go in there with, proxy militaries or so-called terrorists that they didn't armed over there, then you put the blame on, oh, there's terrorists out there, so on and so forth. Same way with the government. So, if the American military go out there, you be like, oh, that's Donald Trump and them. They invading our country. This is a madman. But if they go and they use an NGO, you don't blame this on a regular country, all right? Because the NGO is basically a person or a group of people or a corporation, all right, that is basically is like a government, but it's not bound by boundaries, more or less to say. You know what I'm saying? Like the American government is bound by its boundaries in the continental United States plus its other territories. You know, wherever is American soil, that's where they have their governments from. All right, but you can have an NGO. For instance, George Soros is like an NGO. This is just a one person by himself, but he can use his money, all right, the billions and billions of dollars that he has to be able to influence a lot of these things, just like the Black Lives Matter. This dude here is the leader of the Black Lives Matter. He's the one who funded all that shit, created all that shit, and hired up the actors to be the heads of that shit or whatever, whatnot. You know what I'm saying? And use it however you want to use it to propagate certain things inside the goddamn American civilization. Not just there. He does this. This the main dude that be doing all these coup attempts, man. This is the guy that's behind all this shit, man. So he himself is like an NGO, all right, a non-governmental organization. They have their little or like the Vanguard group, which is like the damn Rothschilds investment firm. So again, instead of saying, oh, the Rothschilds did it directly, they got a company that they didn't create it to use as a front company to be their goddamn puppet, all right. But then that their puppet would basically be an NGO, a non-governmental organization. It don't got boundaries. It's not like a country like the United States or Canada, Mexico, Russia, China, or nothing like that. But yet and still, it operates just like a government, all right? They can have private militaries, mercenaries. They have their own agendas, whatever, whatnot. And these things here are really far superior than a regular government, because behind the scenes, these NGOs basically control and manipulate and again control governments. All right. For instance, in America, you have, I'll give you two more NGOs. All right. You have the trilateral what is it? Trilateral Commission, or what is it called? Yeah, Trilateral Commission. All right. Then you have the CFR, the Center for Foreign Relations. All right. The CFR and the Trilateral Commission. Neither one of these are a part of the American government. All right. They're not governmental property, more or less to say, right? But yet and still, these motherfuckers are the ones that advise the presidents and shit like that. They the ones, the presidents don't make moves and make decisions if they don't go through, if they don't get it from the CFR or the Trilateral Commission, all right? Or another one, the Tavistock Institute. That's another big ass. Damn, look up the Tavistock Institute. That's a big ass NGO, man. That motherfucker right there is sick, bro. The Tavistock Institute. But nevertheless, Donald Trump has his advisors and so on and so forth. He is only the puppet. He's the face of the company. But you have people just like any company or whatever, whatnot. Like let's say Jared from Subway, right? He's just a nigga on a commercial and shit like that. He's not in the back setting prices and what they coming out with on the menu, whatever, whatnot. He's not even saying what he want to say on the goddamn commercial, man. They giving him a script and he going on there and he's saying whatever the fuck they tell him to say. He gonna wear whatever the fuck they tell him to wear. And he gonna pose however the fuck they tell him to pose. That's the same way that you see with these presidents in this fucking government that we have, because all these things are controlled by NGOs, all right? But nevertheless, it says, notably, there has been a steady flow of money from shady right-wing NGOs to the Bolivian opposition in recent years. Such organizations, the supportedly CIA-linked National Endowment for Democracy, channeled nearly $1 million into the country in 2018 alone. All right, congratulations on winning power in Bolivia, as CIA tweeted former U.S. Senator and anti-war activist Mike Gravel. All right, so this ain't no goddamn secret to nobody, but you low-level people that's just sleeping on all this, that don't want to see all these things, all right? Because why? It's plain to see, man. All right, not necessarily saying you got to be a man of the Lord to see these things, because why, man? This is being ousted on the mainstream media news, man. These things are all being put in the open, all right? Let me get back down to this here article. So it says, U.S. would attack foes and friends to protect its hegemony and doesn't shy away from using terrorists as proxies. Now, hegemony basically means pure domination, all right? It's like, all right, so for instance, you know what I mean? Like, let me think of something. Let me see. Okay, for instance, if you could think about this, like the S-400 system, right? The S-400 system has a radius of its attack zone. If you get anywhere in this fucking attack zone, this shit can dominate your ass all day long. That attack zone is basically America's reach. Anywhere inside of there, in which we know, according to the scriptures, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. He got there was a great sword given to him to take peace from the earth. All right, this is Esau, and he was gonna live by the sword, man. This is Esau's domination, pure domination on the planet Earth, man. All right, his hegemony, all right, that's him. Everything up under his shadow or his wing, he dominating that shit, man. All right, so it says U.S. would attack. And now, really, this is the real definition of national security. So whenever you hear them saying it's such and such for a case of national security, for national security purpose, national security does not mean defending the nation's borders or some kind of attack on the nation's border. National security means securing the position of America being on top of everybody else and dominating everybody else. All right, that's national security. All right, that's the number one goal of national security, to protect America as being the number one in its domination. All right, so it says U.S. would attack foes and friends to protect its hegemony and doesn't shy away from using terrorists as proxies. Syria became a testing ground for the U.S. as it refines its tools to safeguard global hegemony, and really that's what Iraq was also used for, because Iraq was like a more like a urban type warfare, where it was, Fallujah and all that, where it was going door to door and rounding people up and shit. They practicing that shit for over here in America, man. All right. So it says Syria has become a testing ground for the U.S. as it refines its tools to safeguard global hegemony, Bashar al-Assad told RT's Afshin Rassani in an exclusive interview. He also explained that many Syrians are fighting for. Washington sees its former's dominant role slipping away and is trying to preserve its using all means available. All right, I can just think of a scripture off top, which Lord will and I'll be able to grab it. Revelation 12:12. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth
And woe to the inhabitants of the earth and to the sea, roughly paraphrasing. For the devil has come down to you having great wrath, because he knows you have but a short time. And this is what's going on right now, all right? They see that this hegemony, this power, this throne is being slowly taken away from him. Esau knows that this is the end all be all for him, all right? He also knows that Esau is that he's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow. He also know about Isaiah chapter 60, about his ass going into captivity up under us, or Revelation chapter 13 verse 9 and 10, or Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 16. Man, he know all these scriptures, man. He know what time it is, man. He know he about to go into captivity. So what is Esau trying to do? Oh, hell no. He knows he has but a short time, so he finna go ham on that ass, man. And this is exactly what you see going on, man. He's so sloppy with this shit that everybody's calling him out on it, all right? So it says, Washington sees his former dominant role slipping away as is trying to preserve it using all means available, coming down with great wrath because he knows he has but a short time. The Syrian leader believes, so the U.S. will fight the Russians, the Iranians, and Syrians, whoever said no. Even their allies, they said, even if their allies said no, like the Western governments, they will fight with them, he said. Hey, just like the scriptures say about cause all that would not worship the beast to be put to death. All right, because look, this is America's trying to rule just like in the image of the Roman Empire, man. All right, they trying to expand their militaries globally to have global domination, man. All right, and they willing to attack any and everybody, even their own allies, if they go astray from the course of which America has set up for these things going on. All right, or really it's a lot higher than the Americans. All right, you got to go into like these goddamn elite bankers, these, like I was saying, these non-governmental organizations. When you understand that, really, you like, it's just niggas with money out here, man, playing monopoly with these countries, man. Slakia. It says, in fact, Syria was targeted by the U.S. after two very costly direct military invasions in Afghanistan and Iraq. In the latter case, the U.S. and its allies fought against Saddam Hussein, an Iraqi strongman who enjoyed active support of Washington and London for decades, particularly in his war against another American rival, Iran. And also Afghanistan, all right, is the same story, because they used the goddamn proxy army to fight against Russia at the time, what they called the Mujahideens. All right, the Mujahideens morphed into the goddamn Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda morphed into goddamn some other shit before it morphed into ISIS. All right, it's all the same shit, like Al-Nusra, Al-Daesh. All this shit is all the same shit, man. They just coming up with new different names for the same ass shit, man. All right, in different locations. There's no difference. It's all CIA backed. It's just them. All right. It says, in fact, Syria was targeted by the U.S. after two very costly direct military invasions of Afghanistan and Iraq. In the latter case, the U.S. and its allies fought against Saddam Hussein, an Iraqi strongman who enjoyed the support of Washington and London for decades, particularly in his war against the American rival, Iran. And America was using Saddam Hussein. In fact, America is the one who put Saddam Hussein in power and kept Saddam Hussein in power and gave Saddam Hussein all his military goddamn weaponry, all right, to begin with. So for them to even say that he got weapons of mass destruction is some bullshit. Now, you could say that he has some chemical weapons, which he did have chemical weapons because the Americans had the receipts, because they gave him the chemical weapons to use against the, was it the Kurds? I think it was the Kurds. Or it may have been the people in Kuwait or something like that, you know, and which that led up to them going in and invade them in Desert Storm and shit like that, which America with their hypocrisy, you know, divide and conquer. But nevertheless, it says, yet later relations between them soured in the wake of the Gulf War, and Saddam's Iraq was eventually designated as a target for U.S. invasion in 2003. Campaigns against Saddam and the Taliban in Afghanistan turned to be too costly for Washington and apparently brought lower yields than expected. In reality, you know what I'm saying? This is what they expected, of a full-on sustained war, you know, just longevity, because really America makes money in a time of war. You know, this is the most profitable time for America, because why? All them damn bombs they dropping, you know, there was an article maybe a year and a half ago I did on Donald Trump dropping the bomb every 12 minutes. You know, and he didn't superseded Obama and Bush with their killing sprees. But nevertheless, every time they drop a goddamn bomb, American companies make money, whether it be Raytheon, which is like the world's #1 military arms supplier, or it be Lockheed Martin, or Northrop Gunman or something like that. You know what I'm saying? All these different, or General Electric, that's another goddamn arm manufacturing company, man. All right, you know, GE, these motherfuckers make weapons. You see what I'm saying? But nevertheless, these American companies make money every time a goddamn bomb is being dropped, a bullet shell is being, being you know, wasted or whatnot, man. American companies make money off of these things, man. So what? It's in their benefit to keep war going basically indefinite, because the more and more that there's wars, the more and more bombs we're gonna be dropping, the more and more bombs that we can sit here and print up money for to basically launder into these different companies. All right. But nevertheless, it says so the U.S. took a different approach in an attempt to topple its government. Assad said a war through jihadist proxies, and that's exactly what happened over there. All right. It says, contrary to the public declaration that terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda, the Nusra Front, or the Islamic State, IS, formerly ISIS, were to be eliminated, the U.S. has no qualms about supporting them as long as they are following their goals. And you heard about Barack Obama when he got busted with the shit, like I was talking about with Hillary Clinton in the Benghazi situation and in the Free Syrian Army, all right, how they went over there with that bullshit, all right. And they wound up getting busted with these things, but what was Barack Obama's explanation? Oh, we only fund the moderate rebels. All right, that's just like the not so extreme terrorists, basically. But bro, you the one creating both sides of these terrorists and just letting them go ham. You giving them weapons, letting them go ham on an open battlefield in any goddamn country, and then you go over there and you try to bomb them. At the end all be all, you got problem, reaction, solution. The solution is you want to destroy this guy. The solution is you want to take all their shit. So what do? You go in there, you drop off some goddamn terrorists. All right, they create a problem. All right, the reaction is that the people was going to outcry and ask for some kind of help. Then they would ask for the American government to come over there. The American government is going to come over there with their military, bomb the shit out of your country, fuck up all your infrastructure and all your resources. And then, they're going to offer you some aid. But you know what? We ain't mean to fuck up all your shit. You know what I'm saying? We sorry about that. You know what I'm saying? We definitely sorry about fucking up all your infrastructure and all your shit like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to send some aid over there, and we're going to fix up all of your shit. We're going to wind up paying for all this, and we're going to, rebuild all this. They'll send a company over there like KBR, Halliburton, and things like that, which is a company owned by Dick Cheney, all right, like they did over in Iraq, all right, and they're going to rebuild the whole goddamn country. And once they rebuild the country, or the main infrastructure of the country, what are they going to wind up doing? They're going to be like, well, we built all this, so we got to put our own American people in here to run this shit, and they're going to basically be siphoning all the damn money and the resources off of that, all right? But nevertheless, continuing on, it says, Al-Qaeda is a proxy against the Syrian government, against the Russian government, and the Iranian government, he explained. How did ISIS rise suddenly in 2014 out of nowhere, out of nothing? Iraq and Syria at the same time with American armaments, it's very clear. Yeah, they had the American arms. They all driving Toyota trucks. You know what I'm saying? They got like motherfucking rounds, like crazy rounds. Right before that, the American government was buying billions and billions of rounds. All right, wonder where they going at. All right. Nevertheless, you got they wound up taking tanks and shit. Like, where are they getting these rounds from out there? And I believe they tried to pull off at one point in time that these motherfuckers had to stole a goddamn jet out there and painted the bitch black. But like, how does just some regular niggas out in the desert learn how to just pick up and drive a tank or fly a goddamn jet? And where they getting rounds for any of this shit from, man? And how come they, it's been a long-ass sustained war where they just out there in the desert just letting rounds off? You see these goddamn Arab videos where these motherfuckers is in a circle and shit, chanting and got the AKs busting rounds off in the air just for nothing, man. He's just letting rounds off. Like, how the fuck you just keep reloading like that, bro? You got a cheat code. You got unlimited ammo. Or maybe it's the American military that keep going over there, all of a sudden relocating. But every time they relocate, they leave all their equipment behind. And guess who winds up stumbling across that equipment? ISIS, right? So it says U.S. hand in glove of terrorists. It says, he said ISIS is. He said ISIS at the peak of his power could not have been smuggling oil worth millions of dollars per month out of Syria without the U.S. turning a blind eye. And it's true, man. Like, they was over complaining about this. Oh, they over here selling this here oil on the black market, whatever, whatnot. They selling all these barrels of oil. Is such a problem. Like, but bro, all right, if that was a real problem, why don't you just go to the motherfucker buying the oil? Obviously, somebody else is not buying oil from somewhere else. Like, if you got like all these different people buying oil, right? Let's just say everybody bought oil from Iran, right? Hypothetically. Now, all of a sudden, let's say Canada wanted to buy some illegal-ass oil from ISIS, right? You would notice that Canada just stopped buying oil from Iran. All of a sudden, now you're like, well, they stopped buying oil, but they still need oil to keep running because they didn't get no new technology. So where the hell is they getting the oil from? All of a sudden, their oil supply is still at the same limits. But you know what I'm saying? They would automatically know who's buying this damn illegal oil. All right, but nevertheless, it was America siphoning all this goddamn oil out and reselling it to these people because that's the resources they wanted over there, all right? So it says, since ISIS started looting Syrian oil in 2014, they had two partners, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan and his cohorts, and the Americans, whether the CIA or others, he said. The U.S. supervised looting of the Syrian riches openly continues today. He added, yet that looting so that the president says doesn't stop the war, doesn't stop when war ends. The Americans will try to loot other countries in different ways, regardless or regarding not only their oil or money or financial resources. They loot their rights, their political rights, every other right. That's their historic role, at least after World War II. And again, like I said, man, you don't gotta believe us, man. All right, because why? At the end all be all, these things are openly speaking, man. These things are how do I say? These things are out in the open right now. They openly speaking to the fact of where we don't even have to break it down to you no more. You know what I'm saying? They letting you know that this is all how does it say? Neither keep it at home and it's not satisfied. All right. Let me continue on. It says oh, here's the part I wanted to get about your boy over here. It says Assad said the murky ties between Washington and hardline militants in Syria is the reason why he is skeptical about Donald Trump's claim that the American special ops indeed took down the ISIS leader Barak al-Baghdadi, just like in the case Osama bin Laden, with no definite proof of the death was made public, which contrasts sharply to that what happened to people like Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein or Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. All right, Moscow, for its part, has reservations about claims of Baghdadi is dead, calling for the release of some kind of definite proof. So again, this not me just sounding crazy or a conspiracy theory. Oh, this nigga ain't really dead. This nigga's actually fake. It's just this is a motherfucking name and some guy that you think is the boogeyman. You know, they're not gonna ever find this nigga. They're not gonna ever kill him because he's just a fucking actor. All right, and in fact, the importance of this dude is this guy here is a motherfucking American. He was born here in America. This is a white dude, a so-called white man. All right, he was born here in America, went over there to so-called fight. All right, but they use him because of the fact of they can pass laws basically to kill Americans. Because why? This is an American who was born on American soil, but yet he moved abroad on the globe. So now Barack Obama made a new law talking about that they can kill Americans or they can kill anybody anywhere in the world. You know what I'm saying? And designating the whole globe as a battlefield. All right, so meaning they can even kill Americans on American soil or off American soil. It doesn't even matter. All right. That was the whole point of having this dude and also having the face of the boogeyman, all right? Because they would have, if we would have been 20, 30 years later still looking for bin Laden, the people would just be like, yeah, we don't believe this shit no more. So they got to kill him off and bring up the next boogeyman, all right? Now they're killing this guy off, and the next boogeyman is going to be Iran and Russia, man, all right? And all these other nations they trying to topple, all right? It says, let me see. You know what? I'm going to just get into some scriptures because this is all the same things that we've been bringing out into these videos on the highways and the byways and so on and so forth, man. We've been telling you about these here prophecies on and on and on and on. All right, this is Revelation 12:12. All right. It says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down to you having great wrath, because he knoweth he have but a short time. All right, and who is this speaking about? All right, this is speaking about Esau, Edom. All right, because why? Let me grab another precept real quick. This is Job chapter 9 and verse 24. All right, Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the face of the judges thereof. If not, who and where is he? All right, so the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. All right, let me go to Genesis 27 and verse 39 or 40. Genesis 27 and 40, it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke off of thy neck. The point I wanted to grab is, and by thy sword shalt thou live. This was the blessing that was given unto Esau. All right, going back to the book of Revelations, chapter 6 and verse 4, I think. Revelation 6 and 4, and there went out another horse that was red, just like Esau, okay? And power was given into him, like we read in Job 9 and 24. The earth was given into the hand of the wicked, all right? And power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, that they should kill one another. And this is what the so-called white man has done, taking peace from the earth, all right? And there was given unto him a great sword, all right? And we just read about that. That was his blessing in Genesis chapter 27 and verse 40, all right? He was going to live by a sword. And I'm going to jump down to verse 8, Revelation 6 and 8. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto him over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the field. So Esau was given power and dominion over the whole goddamn earth, and to take peace from the earth, all right? And death and hell followed his ass. Everywhere he go, death and hell follows him, man. This is what he do. He go to rape, rob, and murder. Hold on. Let me grab another one. Habakkuk, chapter 2 and 5. All right. Yea, also, because he transgresses by wine, all right? His philosophies, his doctrines, and so on and so forth. These lies and bullshit that he be telling everybody. Oh, there's terrorists over there. Oh, he got weapons of mass destruction. Oh, this and that. Oh, the uprisings of these different nations with their coup d'etats and their propaganda and this bullshit they out there spreading, man. All right. It says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine. All right. That wine is his philosophies, his doctrines, his lies, and his bullshit. All right. He is a proud man. All right. Oh, who's going to take us down? Who's going to catch us? This motherfucker is being exposed left and right, not only by the men of the Lord, but on the mainstream media, not the mainstream media news, but, international news is and international governments and in the international courts, even by his own allies. The so-called devil is being exposed for being who he is, man. All right. It says he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire is hell, and is as death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth to him all people. Now he bring all people to him for what reason? To bring death and destruction into him, man. All right, to rule over these people with oppression, man. All right, and it says, and is as death cannot be satisfied. He's never satisfied, bro. He's gonna keep constantly wanting more and more and more and more. Coming over to the Western Hemisphere and dominating over here in the Americas wasn't enough for him. He had to go back to the other side of the globe and dominate that shit too. That's not even enough. They trying to go out to Mars, the moon, other planets and shit like that and colonize all of that shit, man. All right, so he's never satisfied. All right, verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe unto him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. These nations are right now talking about how America's trying to defend their hegemony and dominating these countries, and also overthrowing these governments with their coup d'etats and all these different things going on, man. Because why? He's increasing that which is not his. These ain't his nations, but he's trying to keep going over into these different nations and steal all their resources, all right? Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite him in a wake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them? And that's exactly what you're seeing going on right now, man. These other nations are calling America out for their bullshit, man. They calling them out for all the little fuck shit that they doing and exposing them for the devils that they are. All right. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. All right. So this is the ultimate outcome for Babylon the Great and ultimately these Edomites. All right. It says let me see if I want to read this verse 9. It says, woe to him that Salak. It says, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. So look, this is what he's doing. Look, he's going to go and steal all these other nations and all their resources and getting all these other nations hating Americans. This is why people say, you dumb Americans, we hate you Americans, so on and so forth. Death to America. This is why these countries say all these things, because why? Ultimately, these Edomites is ruling all this shit, all right, is going around stealing the whole world's resources for their own personal gain, all right? But what? This is bringing hatred down towards the regular, everyday civilians here in America. They ain't got shit to do with none of this. They're still under the same oppression and in poverty up under the same goddamn person, They the ones the American people, even their soldiers, they're not getting under the spoils of war. It's only these elites here, Verse 10, thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people and hast sinned against thy soul. All right. And this is going to be the ultimate end all be all for Esau Edom. All right. This is why he's about to get the judgment he's about to get. All right. It's really just going off the top real quick with those precepts because of what was in their article. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to grab before I close out. You know what else I can grab? This is Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16. This is Revelation 17 and 16. Well, I'll start at 15. Well, I'll just go to verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. All right. Now, you have to understand that this is talking about, when you go up to the top, you're talking about, this is the great whore, right? So, verse 3, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman, which is the great whore, which is America, sit upon a scarlet-colored beast. That beast is NATO and the EU, all right? Full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Going down to verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, all right? Now, verse 12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as of yet, which but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. All right, so basically this is NATO and the EU. All right, these 10 horns, right? It says, and the beast, basically. The 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, which is talking about America, all right, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right, because also you can read this in the book of Daniel, all right, where there's going to be part strong and partly weak, all right? But nevertheless, they're going to wind up fighting with each other. Like it says here, it says, these shall hate the whore and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. All right, and this is what's ultimately going to happen. All America's allies are going to turn on America and wind up shooting their missiles on America and destroying America, all right, for all their wickedness and bringing them down as well too, man. All right, because wow, this here devil, you know, let me grab this real quick. Two precepts. Job 5:12. It says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that his hand cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward is carried headlong. Real quick, going back to the book of Job, chapter 20, and verse 18. That which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be. All right. Let me just read all the way through verse 19. Because he is oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he has violently taken away a house which he builded not. Surely he shall feel quietness in his belly, and shall not save that which he desired. There shall none of his meat be left. Therefore shall no man look for his goods. In the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and he shall rain upon him while he is eating. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him through. All right, I just read through that kind of quick, but putting these Job 5 and 12 and 13 with, you know, Job 20 starting in verse 18 on down. All right, the Most High is about to disappoint the device of the wicked, man. All right, and he's about to take them in their own counsel. They think that they're gonna go full forward and get this new world order, total global domination. All right, ultimately, and they're willing to risk everything for it, but they're gonna ultimately lose out in all this. All right, when he's about to fill his belly, when he's about to complete his task, this is when all these other nations are going to take up arms, and they're going to shoot their nuclear missiles over here on America, man, and make her desolate, all right? But right now, you see, this is the time frame between Revelation 12 and 12, the devil's come down to you having great wrath, all right? And what we're reading here in Job, when he's about to fill his belly, because look, he's like in a foot race, you know, a mile run or whatever, whatnot, you know, you see, you come around, you know, you run a mile, you're on your last lap, and you're on that last stretch, you see the finish line, you go into overdrive, you give it all you got, all your energy is being used up to get to that finish line. You know, you neck and neck with somebody else, and you digging deep down, and you pushing with everything you got, because you know the race is almost over, so you don't want to end the race and still have a little bit left. You know, you don't want to get to the finish line and still have more that you could have gave. You know, you want to give it all that you got while you out there, and this is what Esau is doing. He sees that his end is at hand. All right, and so what? He's gonna, you know, come down with great wrath to try to fulfill his new world order agenda and global domination. All right, but ultimately this is gonna be the end all be all for him. All right, so you know, measuring the time diligently, man. Salvation is right here at the door, man. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahawah, Bahashim, YAHAWASHI, Bahashim, or Hakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, I can pushing this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say stay strong and shalom.